much involved inside the House Speaker's race. Rand Paul has endorsed, he said, if I had a vote in the House, it would be for Jim Jordan because Jim Jordan doesn't want to spend any more money on Ukraine. And we're going to see if that's the sticking point with some of these so-called moderates when it comes to Jim Jordan. He's adamantly against that. He should be on the show one of these days coming up, if we have enough pineapple juice here. But wanted to, first of all, say the media, of course, and I'm not saying this is intentional as much as, well, some of it's intentionality. They're just not praising the interim police chief, who I think when we have Sherelle Parker in here next Thursday, I'm going to ask about this as much as I can, who I think is proving himself, the current guy. And the media doesn't, somehow or another, why is it that Steve Keeley is covering as a one-man gang, the police swooping in using a helicopter and waiting until these idiots are pulling over to eat or fill up with gas, as we've said many times, swooping in, surrounding it, and taking in dozens, if not 50 or 60 of these ATV nonsenses, and they're going to take them to a junkyard where they're going to be crushed. And I had some guy yesterday, how dare you? The government, if you let the government do this here, Dan, they're going to be coming for your home next. No, I don't think they are, buddy. So why is the media not cover? Why is that not the lead story? They talk and talk and talk and talk about, oh my God, look at this. When hundreds of them pour into Philadelphia. Why? It's a good visual for them. And here this police chief is sending the word, actually do the work of cops. Well, one of the reasons they don't do it is they want to cover up for Daniel Outlaw, who it's becoming clear was even worse, if that's possible, than we thought. The ultimate affirmative action hire, checking two boxes at once.
I can't believe she was as bad as she was.
Yes, it's so obvious.
It's so obvious now.
Look at the looting. Look at what he did during the looting. Then you get these idiots on Twitter saying, well, that's a good start. It's about time. I mean, what? He's doing the job. Can we just for once stop it and zone in on what's happening here, showing that police work can actually make this area much safer. Now we got to deal with Krasner, true, but I mean, stop it already. This is a big moment here.
I got to give you some credit, because for the longest time you've been pounding your fist on the table saying, why don't we have drones? Why don't we have helicopters out there following these people from above, finding where they go, and then grabbing, seizing their vehicles and stopping what's going on, Dom? I'm happy to see finally a commissioner with sense, because all it takes is a commissioner with sense to actually do some policing and fix a lot what's going on here.
Point two, why are there not more Steve Keeleys out there? He's the only one that I've seen that actually was on the scene, Dan, when they apprehended this stuff and did it and are crushing them. What the hell's wrong with the rest of the local media?
You would think that would be like leading off the 11 o'clock news on all the channels.
Exactly.
The imagery of for something that Philadelphians have suffered through for 3 years now. Finally, I can't tell you the weight that felt coming off my shoulders to see that finally there's movement on this. I just got to say, keep it up, guys, because it's not going to fix anything if you do it just once. You got to stay on this, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that they're giving him to a local junkyard, we have to ask Steve if I can know. I want to be there and see them smashed. I want to stand in front and take pictures of them.
Well, we said yesterday with the circus music and everything, step right up, push the button, let's crush them. Get them in Love Park. I want Philadelphians in general. The majority of Philadelphians yesterday felt wonderful seeing what happened.
Well, does it tell us, too, that local news, Dan, maybe they're right. All people want is weather. Cheer Eagles, cheer Phillies. That's it. They don't actually want news. Now, talk radio people do, which brings me to...
Hey, can I just interrupt real quick?
Yes.
I just want to say a quick shout out. YouTube.com/@1210WPHT. We are always live with Dining with Dom. And Real Diamond actually just checked into the comments. Real Diamond's
Oh,
hanging out on
good,
the YouTube
yes.
feed. I love that guy, Curtis. So thank you, Real. I'm happy to see you around chilling. It's
Oh,
great.
good. What was his commentary?
Just
Just that
said,
he's
"What's up,
checking in.
guys? Real Diamond here."
Okay. That's good. And the big interview I told you with the French, a bit of it, now they didn't ding me, but they kind of dinged my buddy Jeff Katz, who used to be on here in Philadelphia. He's on in Virginia. Headline AFP, the agency French press, Dan, the French. Red airwave, America's conservative talk radio saturation. Now, I
Oh,
explained to the
oh.
guy, and so did Jeff. They kept asking, why is talk radio so conservative? And we explained, I'm not going to take, again and again and again. In this fairly long piece, though, one of the chapters out of the 3 or so chapters, they gave me the headline, Trump has the juice. And in there, I talk about they wanted to know why Trump is so hot in talk radio or with supporters. And I talked about what the juice is. And I talked about the fact that, yes, some of it is entertainment. Some of it is this people coming together that go to all these rallies. It's a journey. It's a club. And I explained talk radio is that too. Now, Jeff said it's a little bit like pro wrestling. That was what he said. But it's a nice long piece, but they still don't get it, the French, trying to tell us what talk radio is all about, why it is so red, why it is so conservative. And I think the answer is pretty obvious. It's a pushback against the rest of the stuff that's out there. All right. I look forward to seeing the numbers when they come out. The first Friday of the month gives us the joblessness numbers, how many jobs were created. They always change it up and down, but it is true that the number of jobs, I think CNBC says 363,000, is over what was projected. So the question is, isn't that good news? Well, Wall Street doesn't think it's good news because what they're afraid of is the Fed is going to raise interest rates, or at least it's pretty clear. They're going to keep them high for a longer period of time. Now, that's not good. And what this is this, the core of what Biden did. These people whispering to him. I talk about it all the time. We know about that. Go big, Joe. Be LBJ. Be Obama. Be FDR.
Michael Beschloss.
And Michael Beschloss and the Meacham guy. I'm John Meacham. They whisper in his ear. He does it. And then trying to put this back together, an economy is organic. You can't just put it back together. So now the Girl Scouts, and I wanted to talk about this for a little bit. Man, the Girl Scouts, they don't.
No.
Yes, they don't fool around when it
no.
comes to raising
Oh,
prices.
are you kidding me?
That's right.
No.
Inflation's latest victim, Girl Scout cookies. New York Post.
Dude, they're already like $8 a box.
Well, they're saying it's $6 a box now from $5.
Okay.
But that's a 20% increase. I don't even know what Biden increased it.
And it's shrinkflation too inside. Like the cookies that they give you so much less already. It's
the shrinkflation is worse. The shrink, around the inches, nothing. Wait a minute, that cookie seems smaller.
It is smaller. I swear it's smaller. I should have kept one from 5 years ago, but you give me a Thin Mint today versus a Thin Mint yesterday, I guarantee it's a little bit smaller.
How would you explain 855-839-1210? Now, look, I don't always want to bring politics into it, but this is a teachable moment. It's kind of like when DJ got his first paycheck. He knew, but when he saw it, I said, all right, who did that? Every Democrat out there around the clock, that's what they do. Take a look at your paycheck. They're responsible for how much is taken out, without a doubt. So what would you tell Girl Scouts about this rise that they're selling cookies for? Maybe the market won't be as brisk. Maybe people will say that's too expensive.
Do they have a script for when people ask them why the prices are higher?
That's what I was going to ask. Now, I know we have, with all the people that listen, I know there are people out there that have worked with Girl Scouts, or it's your kids or whatever. Is there a script if someone goes, gee, that's awfully high. It was only $5 last year. I love Thin Mints, but $6 now? Or do you think, I'm cute, just give me the money, keep on moving here? That's going to work. Is there a script to tell people why the cost has gone up by 20%. Who's running the girls? 20%? I mean, even Biden's only 8 to 10%. Well, New York Post says that the chapters are saying they ought to talk about the supply chain. Can you see the little girl? Well, it's a supply chain. I don't know what that means, but it's a supply chain. The higher cost of fuel. Well, who's responsible for that? And all the products that go to making those delicious cookies. Now, if they raise the price on the Samoans and all that other cockamamie, I don't care. As long as they let the Thin Mints alone. But I guess this is across the board. They raise it on all. But can you imagine a full dollar up from last year with the Girl Scout cookies? And I'm not sure when they're on the market or not. I just see them when they're there. But it must be that they're announcing this. They're coming soon.
So you're not only telling me that I can't call my cookies Samoans anymore, but
That's right.
I got to pay extra for them as well?
There you go.
Come on, Girl Scouts.
The chapter's interim CEO notified the outlet, in order to combat rising production and material costs, we're going to $6 a box from last year's $5.
Tasty cake.
Yeah, can somebody undercut the Girl Scouts? Can somebody do that? Well, they got the thing. People believe in it. The money's going to go for a good cause and all that. Now, Jeff Andrew is here today at 12:45. We'll talk with him. Jordan has been endorsed by Trump, by Rand Paul. But here's the big but. It would be easy to say, see, wasn't all this nonsense with Gates worth it? Jim Jordan will become the new speaker on Wednesday. I believe they'll be voting. I don't think in the first go round that's going to happen. I think that this Scalise guy is a conservative of sorts, is an insider. And remember, he's going to need a great deal of almost unanimous support in order to get the speakership. So this could go on for a little bit. Liz Cheney is out there. Not sure if she's running for speaker, even though she's on the outside. And Liz Cheney has said that Republicans cannot be thought to protect the Constitution if Jim Jordan is the speaker. She also now, they're starting this up, that Jim Jordan knew more about January 6th than anybody but Trump about what was going to happen on January 6th. It was Jim Jordan.
Ugh.
Who knew? Why didn't they bring him in, Jim Jordan? Now, look, if he's the speaker, I've already told Dan, we got to do an event here in Philadelphia. There's only one rule, a dinner with Jim Jordan. No suit jackets or sport coats allowed.
Dinner with Dracula?
No, it just has to be the shirt for, he does a shirt with the tie and that kind of thing. Not exactly a fashion plate, but he told us why. In the middle of a scrum there, you don't want to have a jacket on.
The attack's really full on this guy now, isn't it?
It's going to, and they're going to bring up the Ohio State thing. They're already starting,
Can I drop in Sonny Hostin here?
Yeah, let's play Sonny Hostin, who every time, once a day, I'm a lawyer. I don't have a legal license, but I could argue in court against Sonny Hostin while doing the show during breaks. Your Honor, let me go back to the show here for a moment. Here's Sonny Hostin on Jim Jordan.
I testified in front of Congress about something so simple, cameras in courtrooms. He came in late, he looked disheveled, and he immediately was screaming and yelling and terrorized me and the other experts on the panel. And describing him as a terrorist is exactly that. He's a chaos agent, and it came out of nowhere, and he had no command of the subject that we were talking about, which made it even scarier. So to have him, the thought of him being the Speaker of the House, I think leads to more chaos for
But his role model is Donald Trump, who has no command of the language either.
The dumbest women they could find in the now, Dan, I wish I had that on tape, but people trust me. Barbara Walters telling me at a book party for Bill Clinton. Don't ask how I got in there. It was in New York. Well, these are the most entertaining women in America. What are you talking about? And I thought they were ready to say, escort this man out, because Barbara Walters.
She really thought they were the most entertaining women in America?
Oh, yes.
And,
yeah. And I was coming up with other names, but I was looking around. Where's security? Mike Wallace was standing there with me. The next line over, 2 feet away, was Baryshnikov with Chelsea Clinton. It was a great spot to be in.
Watch.
Imagine this guy, though, me, saying, well, Miss Walters, I've interviewed you several times, but I think you could do a little bit better with the people that are on The View. You mean to say there are not a few conservative women out there? Oh, man. Woo! Just think of the dumbness quotient.
We talked about the fly on the wall.
Yes,
I would
that
have
was
loved to have been a fly on the wall of you
And
talking with her.
Mike Wallace is standing there
Right?
sipping, saying, what the heck is it with this guy? It sounds like he's looking for a camera. It's 60 Minutes. All right, let me give you the side question. Side question today. Today is National Coaches Day. Hit us with that all-time coach, real or fictional, and it can be a life coach, not just a coach in sports. All right, Dan, I'm going to take one off that I don't think anybody would say in the world of sports necessarily, but it's my role model. Pat Summitt in female basketball was every bit as intense, I would say more intense and tougher
She was.
than any male coach.
Well, I have bias. My brother went to UConn.
Okay.
Was friends with Diana Taurasi.
Okay.
And Gino Auriemma is just an all-time legend.
Yeah,
So the conversation between
Yeah.
Summitt versus Auriemma, you're taking Summitt?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Both great
Yeah.
women's coaches.
Oh, yeah. And I'm taking life coach. I'm taking the money off Tony Robbins.
Oh, yeah.
I've interviewed him several times. Yeah, you see why he's the life coach. How about you?
You might disagree with this answer. I don't know. So I bleed green, born in the area, Philadelphia Eagles. But for high school, my family moved out to Indianapolis, and I got season tickets to the Colts. And for 10 years, I got to watch Peyton Manning face off against Tom Brady. And while the Eagles were always, my deep love, I gained a fandom of the Indianapolis Colts being an AFC team. And during that time, I really looked to their coach as the pristine example of what an NFL coach should be, and that's Tony Dungy.
Yeah, Tony Dungy.
You agree with that?
No, I think he's too mild-mannered.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the dignity. I like all that. You can have that.
Yeah, that's the word, though. I feel like he's the
Yes.
definition of dignity.
Yeah, but you know what? When it comes down to it in the NFL, I mean,
Yeah.
you need a little bit more fire, I think.
And then I got two other questions. I'm going to take another one off the board.
Sure.
Richard Simmons as a
Yes.
fitness coach.
Okay.
I just love the guy's personality. My grandmother was obsessed with him. My mom loved him. But I got a question for you, Dom. Right now, we're seeing in the NFL one of the greatest coaches of all time in his twilight of his career, not doing so well now.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have Tom Brady anymore, but Bill Belichick is often considered a greatest of all time coach. I got to ask you, do you think he deserves a spot on the all-time?
Yeah, I think he does.
Like the Mount Rushmore of all-time coaches?
Yeah, even with Brady, I think he does.
Now,
Yeah.
do you think he deserves a spot over someone like Bill Walsh?
I like him better than Bill Walsh.
Final one, Vince Lombardi.
No, not Vince Lombardi.
So Vince deserves to be on
yes.
that.
And
Mount
may he
Rushmore as
rest
well.
in peace. Dick Butkus, when he played,
Yeah, it's sad. Yeah,
there was this commercial for a battery, and they had Dick Butkus filling a hole. This giant black Chicago Bears uniform was incredible.
Yeah.
One of the most fearsome. He was voted on the most fearsome players in the history of
not
pro
only
football.
physically but mentally, because
yeah,
I was
yeah.
watching a piece on him yesterday where players that were coming onto the field for the first time, before they even snapped the ball, they were already incredibly intimidated, looking doe-eyed because of the things that Dick was saying to them.
Yeah, probably threatening them too. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's 855-839-1210. That's how you get in. A lot of things in play. Jeff Van Drew at 1245. Riley Gaines at 2:30 today. Hit us with that all-time great coach, sports or lifestyle. Well, I know about a visionary, if not a coach, although he does coach up his team at 2 batteries plus bulb stores. I'm talking about Roy, to give great customer service. Definition of that customer service: make people feel they're not dumb just because they don't know everything when it comes to technology. And 2, go all out to find a solution for them, be it business or just a person that has a problem with their phone. Roy had the vision, and he opened up the first batteries plus bulb store in the tri-state area in Mount Laurel over 17 years ago. The vision was people are going to need a lot of help with all the technology we're having. Phones, for example, custom battery packs, game console repairs, ride-on toy repairs, all kinds of business things that involve technology. And that's what you get with batteries plus bulbs. And you marry that with a guy who is fanatical in a friendly way to customer service, as I said. So whatever you're looking to do that involves power, technology, you want some trusted advisors, people that are really going to come up with a solution for you. Call them 856-638-0778 or visit them. 2 big locations, one on Route 73 in Mount Laurel, the other on Tilton Road in Northfield. 856-638-0778.
Ain't no mountain high.
All right, that's a cut from Remember the Titan. Side question today, coaches, life coaches, real coaches, Herman Boone, but Denzel Washington, my favorite scene. They have this blonde-haired kid who can throw the ball a mile, come from Sunshine from California. And after the game ball, Ronnie Bass. It's one of Denzel's greatest moments. My favorite moment is when the assistant coach, I forget who that character actor is, he's really good, goes on to the field and tells every referee what he's going to do if they
that's Will Patton.
Yeah, if they keep on throwing a game. And then he tells the defense, if they get 1 yard, I'm taking you all out.
It's really crazy. If you go back and watch the movie now, I mean, it came back in what, 2001? Was that? Was that or 2000? And all the young kids from that shows all appeared in different places. I mean, Wood Harris, Julius Campbell later went on to play on The Wire. What's his name? The main drug boss.
Avery, Avon.
Yeah, Avon
Yeah,
Barksdale.
yeah.
Wood Harris is a big actor. Oh no, Wood Harris was Avon. Ryan Hurst is a character actor that's all over the place. Sons of Anarchy. Donald Faison went on to play in Scrubs. Ethan Suplee is a character actor. All these people are recognizable. Ryan Gosling was in the film.
That's right, the captain of the overrated team, Ryan Gosling, who does some of the biggest captain of the overrated team.
Yeah, and Suplee's the blonde, heavy-set guy that you see in a lot of comedies now. Yeah,
that's just a great film, and it's pretty much based on a true story of what happened there through a football team. All right, phone lines are 855-839-1210. Joe Biden speaking out on the latest jobs report, and it is more than the markets expected. But see, what he's done here is he's trying to use this to tell the American people, now shut up and realize what I'm doing is working. And we're saying, look at Girl Scout cookies today, just as an example, okay? You're not getting away with this, buddy. We know exactly what you triggered and what you've done. And real wages are not going to make up for that, no matter what you say. And the Fed is poised to pounce one of two ways. Either they're going to keep longer the exorbitant interest rates, or they're even going to jack it up a little bit. How much more can you jack it up? That's what this clown has triggered. And he continues to do it. I got to say on this one, though, I'm happy. The American people, one way or the other, are just saying, no, on this, I see exactly what happened here. You're not conning me. Things cost too much. All right, let's go to Paul in Norristown on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Paul, good morning.
Good morning, Tom
Afternoon.
and Dan.
Yeah.
Yes, I can make those cookie increase look like chump change. 3 years ago, my car insurance, was $974.
Mm-hmm.
I just got my bill this week. No accidents, same car, $2,024.
Wow.
That's 33.33% per year since 2000.
Yep.
1/3 increase. It's ridiculous.
Paul, do you live in Norristown or where do you live?
I'm in Norristown.
Yeah, because what I've been hearing a lot in Philadelphia is because of the carjackings, the catalytic converter thefts, all of that, car insurance rates have just absolutely skyrocketed based on the crime. So I wonder if that's playing into it along with the inflation as well.
It could be, but like I say, I'm going to buy a box of cookies and smile.
All right, thank you, Paul. Great call. By the way, Temple, I just saw this at Philly Crime Update, was holding a update on safety on the campus. Meanwhile, very close by, a carjacking happened at the sports complex right there in broad daylight. Now, again, I know there are people, Dan, that have personal grievance with this woman heading up security at Temple. She sucks. She's the Danielle Outlaw of college safety people, right? But I still maintain you're going down the rabbit hole. You're attacking Temple. They don't have enough cops. They don't pay enough. I think it's all true. You're not going to tell me, though, what has exploded this is one man. I don't care how many people try to shield, protect, or deflect. And just look at the difference one person can make in a really short period of time. Just imagine we had a DA, take your pick, maybe Matt Weintraub out in Bucks County, for example, or maybe even more aggressive, that prosecuted crime effectively and let you know what was going to happen. This interim, and he's only interim, Dan. Imagine if this guy had the full weight of the office. So we have Sherelle Parker in studio on the 13th at 12:30. I'm going to make it a point to bring this up a lot. Look at the record here. The cops were very effective during the looting time. I don't care what you say about, wow, it's about to stop it already. You know, we're not going to make progress here. Give up the cynicism for a moment. And then last night, thanks to Steve Keeley and Philly Crime Update's coverage, we saw how many ATVs, et cetera, they swooped in and pounded, and they're going to crush. Why is that? this guy is actually an effective cop versus Danielle Outlaw. Danielle Outlaw could have a book written about her. I wonder how many people died because of Jim Kenney putting Danielle Outlaw in there. That's how serious it is. Look,
point.
If you want to make an affirmative action double play hitter, Danielle Outlaw, the charge of something that doesn't involve life and death, okay, go right ahead. She'll just make it more inconvenient, stupider. That's what she'll do. You put someone like this in charge of life and death, you got to answer for that. In Philadelphia, you don't seem to. They're not going to tell you how well this guy's doing, even though he's an African-American male, because it reflects poorly on how bad she was. The new mayor will be better than Jim Kenney. We all know that, whoever that is. So it only leaves one hurdle towards some kind of normal life here, other than dealing with progressives and city council, et cetera. And what is that hurdle? Krasner. All right? You can choose to give up against these forces, or you could see the wins also. So, say, for example, after the dust settles, Jim Jordan is the Speaker of the House. We only have the House. Problem is the Senate Republicans. But we have another huge election coming up. Now, I saw the first poll that's out there, McCormick and Casey. And McCormick in this poll is down by 6 points. That is a miracle, though. I don't think Dave Cormick necessarily has tremendous voter recognition, and the campaign didn't start. And Casey has been here forever. I think he can take Bob Casey Jr. I think he's going to take Bob Casey Jr. The Senate is definitely within our grasp. But Dan, I saw several people with this poll, and I wanted to talk about this. So either they're right or I'm right. They were saying, see, we told you so. Abortion is only the 6th rated thing on voters' minds. True, inflation is number 1. I'm telling you, though, unless Republicans come up with a better way of answering on abortion, they will use that to drive across the finish line like they did in the midterms. If we can do that, we're going to beat them on every other issue. Case in point, look at what Biden is having to do with the border, trying to pretend that he can't do anything about stopping this grant. Well, his administration waived 26 environmental rules or laws. Why not waive them? He does have a choice in the border wall funding. They could just let the money sit there and not do it. They could say, we're using it, and then pretty much don't build anything, and they'll take the money away. So what?
I mean, I've spoken to probably 8 to 10 mothers, well, half of them mothers, women in their late 20s, early 30s. And they have children, some of them, and they see what's going on. They're so fed up with the inflation. They hate Biden, but they can't fathom voting for Republicans because they've been convinced by Democrats that Republicans, with their stance on abortion, seek to kill them. That's really what a lot of these moderates think, is because, I might have to choose between me or the child, because that's what the Democrats are framing it as. They refuse to vote Republican. So I just think they're going to come out in droves because of this abortion stance and vote against Republican. And I feel we can really get ahead of this issue by reframing it against the Democrats and win over some of these people.
Yes, we're not going to get it by saying, well, look, Tom, if McCormick is reading this, or I'll text him during this after we're talking about it and tell him, if you're reading that, Dave, and you think abortion is not something to be talking about and thinking about or avoiding, then you're in big trouble. You're going to see. They have nothing else, to your point. What else can they scare people with? What else can they drive out reluctant voters with? It's abortion. You don't want to hear
But,
it.
like, what it comes down to is I was talking to someone in tears, and I had to talk him off
Right.
the ledge because I don't think this is true at all, but she's like, "Say I'm pregnant and I'm 8 months in, and the choice comes between my life or the baby's life. I don't want the government making that decision," and that's the way it's been framed by the Democrats for a lot of these women.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. They're gonna spend, $500 million using that in ad after ad after ad. We're gonna see it. All right, let's go to, Tom in Washington Township. Hey, Tom, good morning. What do you have today? Afternoon. What do you have today?
Hey, Don. By the way, I just want to say the event at Mulligan's with Kelsey Grammer was awesome, man. I've never gone out to many of these things, and that was just really nice. And,
Oh, well, thank you. We hope
for-
to do, more. I'm telling you, behind the scenes, he couldn't have been a better guy. We heard he was a
Right.
curmudgeon. There was none of that.
No, I didn't get it. When people told me, I'm like, you kidding me? He came up, we got pictures with him, and he was just very nice and spent a
yeah.
lot of time.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't get all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so mine is Nick Saban. Just the numbers speak for themselves. And when you got, people
Affleck.
out there singing
Affleck.
country music, saying,
I got a question for both of you.
Yeah.
Nick Saban now.
Down in Alabama, they love Nick Saban.
Tom, before we let you go, I got a question. Do you think he's past Bear Bryant?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Tom?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Tom?
That's tough. I mean, he's right there. Let me hedge my comment.
That's a politician's answer. Sure, Bear Bryant had that houndstooth hat on.
Yeah, and it's still, I mean, you go down to an Alabama game, houndstooth's everywhere in honor of the guy.
But, I mean, Bear Bryant was doing it in an age where it wasn't nearly as difficult as it is now with parody and all that stuff. Okay, it's 855-839-1210. Coming up, we'll play you Hillary Clinton talking about deprogramming people that support Trump. Jeff Van Drew will be here at 12:45. He's a major player in this whole deal with Jim Jordan and Scalise, who's going to be the speaker. And he's said on this show and others, he doesn't want any more money spent for Ukraine, just as Jim Jordan has said. The moderates don't like that. All right, 855-839-1210. Let's talk Martin Water, because crystal clear drinking water, safe, pure water, that's Martin Water Conditioning. My system delivers clean, pure, delicious water right to my tap. We love it, and the Martin Water Conditioning family is incredible to work with. Came out to the Giordano's a week ago Monday. Dwayne was spectacular. Dan even instructing some of Rose's kids that were in a pod there about clean drinking water. I wish I had that on tape. I should have been taping that. And October begins Martin's 50th anniversary and their biggest sale of the year. It's a pleasure to work with their knowledgeable, passionate experts to select the right system for you. Now through October 16th, contact Martin's to save on your water treatment needs. Right now, receive 10 to 20% off the Connecticut water system installations and 50-month special financing. Looking to improve your drinking water, save $100 on a K5 RO system or $40 on a UV system to eliminate harmful bacteria. If you're already a customer at Martin Water like me, save on your next round of salt, filters, and supplies. Don't miss this opportunity to improve your water for less. Call 866-611-7419. That's 866-611-7419. Speak with a Martin representative today, or even better, visit martinwater.com. Dom Giordano Show. Welcome in. So I'll play you Hillary Clinton talking about with Christine Amanpour. Oh, my God. Where Hillary Clinton says we're going to have to deprogram MAGA people. That's how bad it is. Question, we can have fun with this throughout the show for days. Where will that deprogramming take place? Where would be appropriate for them to deprogram us? Here's Mrs. Clinton talking about deprogramming MAGA.
You saw the number of Republicans who voted along with Democrats to keep the government open. So there's clearly a common sense, sane part of the Republican caucus in the House. But I think they are intimidated. They oftentimes, say and do things which they know better than to say or do. And it will require us defeating those most extreme measures and the people who promote them in order to try to get to some common ground where people can, again, work together. That's the way it used to be. I mean, we had very strong partisans in both parties in the past, and we had very bitter battles over all kinds of things, gun control and climate change and the economy and taxes. But there wasn't this little tail of extremism wagging the dog of the Republican Party as it is today. Mm-hmm. And sadly, so many of those extremists, those MAGA extremists, take their marching orders from Donald Trump, who has no credibility left by any measure. He's only in it for himself. He's now defending himself in civil actions and criminal actions. And when do they break with him? Because at some point, maybe there needs to be a formal deprogramming of the cult members, but something needs to happen.
Imagine. Wow. And she's, look, I've interviewed her 5 or 6 times. She's as buttoned up as anybody I've ever interviewed. She knows exactly where she's going to go with that. I still think she wants to tag in if Joe Biden can't make it. That could happen. All right, 855-839-1210. Jeff Van Drew with us in a moment. Do you feel like you're always looking for another energy boost? Well, skip the artificial choice and try increasing energy at the cellular level. Orosine from Rescue Natural Supplements helps the body produce the natural fuel to get rid of that stubborn feeling of fatigue. Plus, Orosine helps support a healthy heart and blood pressure, too. Right now, Orosine is buy one, get one free for our exclusive radio listeners. Just use the code FUEL when placing your order. Call them today at 800-26-ALIVE. 800-262-5483. Speak to a knowledgeable product consultant or use the code online when you visit res-q.com, res-q.com. Again, be sure to use the code FUEL, F-U-E-L, for this special buy one, get one free offer on Rescue Orosine. Clinically proven, heart healthy to naturally boost energy levels. Remember, use the code FUEL at res-q.com and do it today. All right, Jeff Van Drew should be here momentarily. Jeff Van Drew is in the center ring of the battle going over for the Speaker of the House and earlier this week's situation involving Kevin McCarthy. Let's go to Congressman Jeff Van Drew here on Talk Radio 1210. Congressman, welcome back. And maybe not surprisingly, a number of my listeners said, well, what about Speaker Jeff Van Drew?
Well, I appreciate that, but that is, I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm focused on getting a really good, solid, conservative, strong American who believes that we have to really stand up and be strong and try to bring this caucus together. I want to say something. 98% of the Republican caucus is working together to change business as we know it. We had a few outliers. Ronald Reagan said, if you're with me 80% of the time, you're with me. But unfortunately, these few people, you could be with them 99.9% of the time. And if they're not getting what they want, which they can't always, nobody does, they were problematic.
Well, wait a minute, Jeff. You're onto something here because I'm in complete agreement with that. And yet, a few people on Twitter said I was clutching my pearls here uh, about those 8 outliers, particularly Mr. Gates, who I have no affinity for in the slightest.
You know what? And I agree with you. I'm about as conservative as they come, whether it's Second Amendment stuff, whether it's going on the border, what we've done to our cities, our police, and our budget, man. I get it. So here I'm going to tell you the story, the inside story. So, a continuing resolution is not what we should be doing all the time, but we are where we are now, and we've got to change that culture. However, we had a continuing resolution that wasn't business as usual. In it was buttoning up the border. And by that, I mean it would have allowed no more catch and release, would have returned the stay in Mexico policy, wouldn't have funded any of, the traveling expenses of these illegals, which we actually do now. It would have done everything that we want. It would have made sure that this button, by the way, more border patrol, more technology, again, doing the right thing. And of course I voted for that. Jim Jordan voted for it. Marjorie Taylor Greene voted for it. Boebert voted for it. I mean, some really arch conservative people, right? Well, vote comes up, Matt Gaetz and a few people voted against it, and it didn't make it. So what we got was the regular business as usual continuing resolution. Folks might think it is good to close down government, and I get it. And I have some people that emailed me and texted me and said, shut her down, shut her down. Let me tell you, there's some members that have been there through 5 shutdowns. And what they said was absolutely true. Every single shutdown, the Republicans are blamed. Every single shutdown still ended up being as business as usual in the end. Every single shutdown, we lost the Republican majority. Let me tell you what happens if we lose the Republican majority. We're going to open our borders so wide. We think that getting, 8,000, 10,000 a day is a lot now. We'll be getting millions a day. What's going to happen is we're going to spend more money than we ever did before. What's going to happen is we're going to interfere. When I say we, I mean the government's going to interfere with kids' education and teach them all this crap that they're telling them in elementary school, which is horrible for them. They're going to degrade our cities more, diminish our police more, wokeify our military. We must maintain a strong, solid, conservative majority, and we've got to work at it. And just shutting it down won't do it, because you are going to hurt the military, you are going to hurt the Border Patrol, you are going to hurt the FAA. You're going to do it's not a good thing. Now,
all right, so let me ask you, who are you favoring at this point? We've seen the Trump endorsement. Rand Paul, who is a friend of the show and I really respect, said if he were in the House, he'd vote for Jim Jordan. You seem like you'd be in league with Jim Jordan, no?
Correct. I worked with him in Judiciary. He is the founder of the Freedom Caucus, for those folks out there that, don't realize that that's important to know. He's a solid conservative. I've worked with him closely in Judiciary. He's a friend. Steve Scalise is a great guy. He really is. He's a good man. But I think the person for this job now is Jim Jordan. I publicly supported him. I was on Fox News yesterday, and I've spoken to both Steve and Jim and the our former president of the United States. We all agree that this is the right thing to do. So that's where I'm putting my support to, and I'm calling people up about it. And I pray and hope that we will come out of caucus, even if we have a battle in caucus, we come out of caucus unified, we have one vote, and we regain our momentum.
Congressman Jeff Andrew with his Congressman Jim Jordan, too, is against spending any more on Ukraine. And so the so-called moderates might have a problem with that. You and I are linked on that. We've already done more than enough until the Europeans do. Is that appealing to you? And can he get past that he doesn't want to be part of more Ukraine spending?
I'm hoping that the moderates realize that, again, you can't have everything all the time. Jim will work with you 80% of the time, but this is a strong point, and I agree. We have spent enough. We can't take care of our veterans, our homeless, those people have mental health problems, all the things we need to do in the United States of America. Our cities are crumbling. Jim Jordan's the man to do that. And the issue is not so much, just one issue, but I do stand firm on Ukraine. I will not vote for funding it more. You know what, Dom? We've spent over $0.1 trillion. It's enough. We don't spend that on our own border. We're shoring up their borders, and we're not taking care of our own. I'm tired of it. It's
Hey,
America
and
first.
Congressman, too, you're aware of this, but I just wanted to emphasize, I know with my listeners, with your constituents, when we hear how we're propping up their small businesses, paying the pensions, keeping that going of their bureaucrats, the munitions, that's one thing. All this other stuff, 25 billion of it, is hard to believe.
57,000 are on the payroll that we're supporting. 57,000. And some shoring up their borders, their first responders. How about our first responders? How about helping our people? People are burdened with taxes here because the government is just spending money all over the world. We're paying for transgender studies around the world, and I'm not making that up. So I'm sick of it. And I would think that most Americans are. I believe they are. We've got to get our country back on track.
Absolutely. Well, look, this was difficult this week, but if it comes out with Jim Jordan as speaker, I think some of that discomfort might be worth it in the end.
You make a good point. At the end of the day, this may be more good than bad, and you've always got to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And he is the best guy to even deal with the outliers. Some of them you can deal with more than others. I don't know what to say about Matt Gaetz. And, remember, and I want your folks that are listening to this that said you were clutching your pearls, Matt Gaetz and 7 other people voted with every single Democrat to oust McCarthy. Every single Democrat, because they get the end game, the Democrats, and they want to change this nation. Every single Democrat voted with Matt Gaetz. Does that tell you something?
It absolutely does. Congressman, thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you, Dom. You take care.
All right, Dan, I didn't ask the
Oh,
YouTube.
come on. I
don't want to.
there.
All right, I don't want to put him on the spot. Look, it was a serious interview.
It makes sense.
The question from YouTube, has he ever reached out to Phil Murphy to fix his teeth?
Jeff Andrew being a professional dentist,
Next time we're kidding around with him a little bit on the dentistry, I filed that one away with Phil Murphy. I'll ask it. Yeah, sometimes.
Fix those chompers, Jeff.
Yeah, just for somebody, I could help him with the hair. Of course, I got to see, you know what? You got to get me somehow or another in his presence. I will then tell you whether that hair is real or something was done.
I'm going to one-up this idea. So, there's a station out in Cincinnati that's 100,000 watts. And when they first installed the antennas, people's fillings were picking up the station. It was conservative radio. So I suggest, why doesn't Jeff Andrew, give Phil Murphy some of those old-style fillings, and maybe we could give him some 1210 WPHT in his teeth.
There you go. I just want to see the heads. I want to see it up close, and I'll tell you. All righty, 855-839-1210.
After the break, I have a great video from Keeley that he just posted.
Okay.
It's from the press conference today. Some fascinating information about what was discovered yesterday during that search. And also a personal acknowledgement to Steve for riding along, too.
Oh, that's
we'll
very good. Now, I only got to ride along, Dan. You know that one, right? They invited me to ride.
I think I have the audio.
Oh, the audio. If you can pull some of that.
Yeah.
This is an accomplishment, the reverse John thing. All right? Where a cop is pretending to be the John, and we're patrolling behind him. And the woman was this scroungy pickup at 17th and Rittner in the heart of my South Philly. I never would have believed it. All right?
What's the keyword I could search for that file?
Prostitution, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah. Hey, for all seafood lovers who still haven't tried Captain Chucky's crab cakes, what are you waiting for? At Captain Chucky's, they're always trying to keep things new and fresh. If you haven't tried the new banging crab ravioli or lobster ravioli, their amazing blush sauce goes with that. Now's the time. Also, Captain Chucky's brand new product, the Philly famous Clams Casino, mouth-watering addition to your table. Captain Chucky's, of course, the breaded, non-breaded crab cakes, literally a crab cake for everybody. Dessert, soup, sides, appetizers. My personal favorite, the Dom roll. They only use the highest quality ingredients, and their Gulf shrimp is a huge hit. It's always wild caught, never farm raised. So you have the Phillies coming up on Saturday. You have college football. You have the Eagles on Sunday. What are you waiting for? Get to Captain Chucky's now with 19, soon to be 20 locations. You have Wayne and Elaine Jones in Chester Springs, Frank Chirillo in Bluebell, John and Cindy Clark in Huntington Valley, in Ocean City. Chris and Donna Ryan, Sea Isle, the McCann family. Sea Isle in Ocean City, open Fridays and Saturdays, noon to 5. Congrats to Sam Cancelleri, Irish Mike McGarry. Their Medford, New Jersey location is open. Coming soon to Northeast Philly and Home Circle. Congrats to the Graziani family. Remember, we love crabcakes.com.